So we're going to do this again, Potsy. You know why?
Round 2.
Because they're so impressed the first time they want to do it again. Huh? Yeah. So, we're just going to kind of go over the same type of things as that we did last time as far as just, not necessarily anything really about AY. It's more about what you did in the past. And so,
am I proud of it?
Yeah, and are you proud of it?
Some things not.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
We want to go into that.
Yeah,
Let's dig into those.
We're going to talk about the stuff you're not proud of. We should get Dawn here next time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
She'd be a peach.
She has dirt.
She's
I'm
got
sure
she's
got
God, yeah.
She's got plenty of dirt.
Yeah.
Well, I can show videos of you if you'd like to start off with that.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
Yep. He always brings that up. Always brings that up. I got videos of you. I'm like, okay, I'll shut up now. Because it's true.
Where it was so bad that I can't believe that when you were trying to sing that they would actually change the words on you.
They did several times. Several times.
They did?
You were singing?
Well, yeah. And then they went back to the original words the following day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed the words on them.
Yeah. Sure. Chinese, all that kind of good stuff. Yep. So. So when you talk,
whoa, off to a good
just
start.
had a stroke. Did this side of my face, collapse? Or tell us a little bit about your history as far as when you were in the pump business. What you do when you start?
Before AY.
Yeah, before AY.
Well, when I got married, my father-in-law owned a pump installation company, and I started there in '91, and then I worked for that for probably 2 years, and then I bought that part of the business from him. Mm-hmm. So it was 93 probably till when I started here 16 years ago. So, and I learned on the fly. I didn't know it.
What kind of pumps were you installing? Like, what were you actually doing?
We did submersible pumps. We did jet pumps and booster pumps mostly. And I learned on the fly. School of Hard Knocks. I didn't know anything about it when I started. So
the first 2 years when you didn't own the business, you're doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there one part that you liked best? I mean, is there a certain type of pump that you're like, okay, we got that pump, we can do that easy? Is there anything along those lines?
Submersible pumps are always the easiest for me. Jet pumps, you can go and you can try and troubleshoot it, and it may take you half an hour. With a submersible pump, in 15 minutes, you can know if it takes you that long.
Did you drill the hole then too?
No, we didn't do any drilling at all.
Okay.
We're this close to buying a drilling rig and never bought one, so I'm glad we didn't.
That had to take a lot of the. That's a lot of the work when you're doing the submersibles, isn't it?
What is
a lot of the
as far as the drilling?
Yeah. The drilling. You right now, if you were a drilling company, you would have on site, you'd probably have between $2 and $2.5 million sitting there. So you got to drill a lot of wells.
Wow.
To pay for that.
Yeah.
So
during those first 2 years, what did you do when you didn't own the business? And did it change when you did own the business?
I did the majority of the pump work there. There was another guy that would help me if I needed it, but he pretty much sent me out on my own and said, go learn, and that's what I did. And then after I bought the business, then there was a lot of the paperwork and stuff behind it, but I was pretty much a one-man show. Mm-hmm. But I would take my Dawn would go out and help me, and
your better half.
Yeah, my better half, and then my dad would help me also. So, but it was you're on call 24/7, and when somebody's out of water, you go.
Yeah.
Where are some examples of places that you're installing these pumps at?
Dairy farms, residential houses that are out in the county, like my house. I don't know if you guys are on city water or if there's wells there.
We're on city now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There used to be wells up there.
It used to be, yep.
Yep. I did a lot of subdivision work.
You did?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, whereas there was one city contract that they had with Asbury, but then we ended up selling that back to the city.
Right.
So, but yeah, we did mostly up to probably 10 horse, maybe 90 gallons a minute would probably be the biggest one that we would do.
What's the biggest pain in the ass job that you had as far as the pump industry is concerned? When you own the business, you know, I know paperwork aside and all that, the actual installs and that sort of thing.
The thing that I didn't like the most was chasing money.
Yeah.
That part of it was always hard. I remember one job I went out on. This was on a Monday morning. I'll never forget this because I knew the person. I didn't know her very well, but I knew who she was. And I went out to her house, and she had 3 little ones. Bing, bing, bing. And her husband just left her.
Oh, jeez.
And she didn't have any water. Well, she needed a new pump, new wire,
Oh, gosh.
and new pipe. So she needed a brand new. And the bill was pretty high because the pump that she needed was expensive. Well, I put it all in for her. And I told her, I said, you pay me what you can pay me, and then you pay me whatever you can pay me during each month, and we'll call it good. Mm-hmm. Well, I lost money on it, but I got her water, and to this day she still remembers what I did. So that part of it was nice. You know, if I've been to places where they've had a house full of people on Thanksgiving Day or New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, and they call and they're out of water, and you're going to get them water, and that's, you know, that's gratifying.
Sure.
Yeah, people don't realize how important it is until it's not there.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that we just always assume will be there. You just turn
on the faucet, and boom, there it is. Well, and then it doesn't. And then if you don't have it, then it always seemed like Thanksgiving Day we always ended up pulling a pump. I don't know why it was, but
Dawn doesn't even set him a place at the
No,
table.
no,
He's just not coming.
yeah. You set the saran wrap next to your plate. So, but yeah, I enjoyed doing it.
When did you know you wanted to get into it?
When did I know I wanted to get into it? I always was intrigued by what her dad did, and then I just decided, you know what, I back then when we first got married, I wouldn't have been very good sitting in an office.
Right.
I'd much rather be out with people and around people.
So what did you do before you started in the business with your father-in-law?
I delivered bread. I graduated, and then I was working at the bakery, and you can make pretty good money at the bakery, and so I was doing that. But that was something that getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and being done by 2 o'clock in the afternoon wasn't going to fly.
I was just going to say, what time did you have to get up? But then my question was going to be, what time did you have to stop going to the bars in order to get to work at 2 a.m.? Because there's probably not going to bed at before 2 a.m.
Back then you were young and stupid. You just got to make sure you can pass the test before you hop in the thing. So.
That's when we could bounce back.
You can do that right now.
I know.
Get up 2 a.m.?
Yeah, I don't think so.
So we mentioned Dawn. We know that you have more family than just Dawn. So tell us about the rest of your little tribe.
My daughter, Nicole, is 29 and Tyler's 25. Nicole's getting married. One of the things that I had a hard time with at first was balancing work and family, because since I was always on call, I was gone all the time. And I remember it was we're working over in Asbury, and they had a problem over there. I think it was pump related. Anyway, we were there till 9 o'clock at night, and I got home just in time to say goodnight to her before she went to bed. And we didn't have Tyler then. And I remember putting her, she was already in bed, and I went up and I was talking to her, and she said, "Daddy, you work too much. You're not here enough. Yeah. You're not here." I'm like, yeah, I got to figure out something to do. Right. So, but we got it all figured out, and I'm sure they all appreciate it now.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the biggest changes that you've seen in the industry from the time that you started to today? You know,
the one change now. I don't know if it's a change. It's something that bothers me the most about the industry. Is there's a certain amount of people in the industry, and for some reason, don't think that you should get paid for what you do. They give it away, and they give it away. One, because they don't know how much a job actually costs to go out and actually do that job. They haven't looked into the business side of it. If they looked into the business side of it, they would say, you know what? I now understand why at the end of the month I don't have as much as I need. They've cheapened up the business part of it. That's the part that bothers me the most. I mean, you look at something, you're working with a natural resource. You have to get CEUs to move along. You have to carry a license in most states. So you need to be paid for that. And there's a lot of people that they buy a truck, they throw a hoist on it, they go out and they do work, and then they don't get paid for what they do. And that bothers me the most. And there just seems to be that there's still a lot of those people out there that keep, instead of being up here, they keep everything down here. And so.
Yeah, that must make it tough for the other businesses that are have a better understanding of the value that they're providing in terms of service, their time spent, the knowledge that they have, all of those things cheapens that a little bit. Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah. What if Tyler and Nicole or Nicole come back home and say, you know what, Dad, I'm going to get in the pump business. What piece of advice would you give them?
One, that would never happen because because they saw what I went through, being out late at night, and they, you know, when you most of the time, kids and other people see you're there till 9 or 10 o'clock at night. They don't see when you go out and pull a pump and you start at 8 and you're done at noon and these people have water and they're very grateful for what that you did. They don't see that part.
Yeah.
They always see the bad stuff.
Yeah.
I think the advice that I could give them that would be helpful the most is be true to what you are and who you are. Treat people right, and things will be okay.
Yeah.
But it's like being in farming. It's an awful expensive business to get into if you're going to get into it right, especially if you want to do the drilling.
And a lot of hard work.
I mean, you got to be willing to be. You're on call. My mom always said, "You're on call like a doctor, but you get paid like a plumber."
Yeah.
She always told me that because she knew, she saw it. But
Yeah, you mentioned farming, so, and you earlier you said dairy farms. I would imagine that there is a sense of urgency when a dairy farm loses
when a dairy
water.
farmer called, you dropped everything you're doing because time is money to those guys, because if those cows can't drink, they can't produce milk. And it was always funny because we had everything on our truck that we needed to fix that. Now, there's some parts of the country, even some down in Cedar Rapids, where a guy will go out and he'll pull a pump, and he doesn't do a very good job of troubleshooting it, so he'll take it to one of our customers. They'll troubleshoot the pump, and then they'll turn around and go back. Well, if I would have pulled off a site, at least around here in our county, if I would have pulled off a site to go have somebody check something, they'd have called somebody else to come in behind me.
Yeah.
They want it fixed right.
They want
right
it fixed
away.
right now because time's money for them guys.
So similar to that, I was kind of thinking about what you're talking about, but do you remember one particular case where you're just out there and it was like, oh crap, if I don't get this started soon, it's going to be trouble. It's going to be bad news.
I remember there was a dairy farmer called me at, it was like 2:30 in the morning, and it was cold, it snowed, it was windy, and his son
Perfect working conditions.
Yes, his son was out partying, and he came home at 2 o'clock, wanted to take a shower, no water. So then they called me, and that's one of the reasons that I have my phone number on my business card, and I hand it out, and they can call me anytime they want. But I was out there I'll never forget this, I was out there at 2:30 in the morning, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I had nobody to call. I mean, I wasn't going to call my father-in-law because he was still in bed.
Right.
But after going back and backtracking and figuring out what it was, or going back and looking at things, I figured out that it was they had a windmill above the well, and it was the windmill was abandoned, but they still had it up there. But they ran the electrical wires from there over to the house, and going into the house there was a loose connection. So every time the wind would blow, the lights would dim in the house, and the pump wouldn't run. It took me a while. That was one of the first ones. I wouldn't say one of the first ones I went out on, but that took me a while to figure it out. So we just had to call an electrician with the boom truck. And
so it wasn't even a pump issue.
No,
I mean, essentially.
No. They didn't have water.
Right.
So I was the first one they called.
Sure.
But we were out there probably, I think I rolled back in about 6 o'clock in the morning on that one because I waited till the electrician got there to make sure that they had power.
Yeah.
And made sure they had water. I had one other one that was really exciting. Was a guy got hit by lightning, and he took a direct hit. It actually knocked.
A guy?
No, the house.
Oh.
But they had a.
Did you say a guy, though?
Yeah.
Did he say a guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He said it
The
was
guy's
an
house.
exciting story.
Yeah, I was going to say, a guy got hit by lightning.
But he had the phone box knocked off the wall. You tripped the breakers in the breaker box and whatever. So we got him water, but there was a bunch of electrical the breakers that were they were pushed back over, and I said I'm not flipping those over. We're gonna have to call an electrician, get out here because he's gonna have to make sure that there's no shorts or whatever. So I called an electrician. Well, anyway, the electrician was upstairs and he said, "Okay, flip the one over, but tell me where it's at." So I said, "I'm going to flip the one over in one of the bedrooms." So I flipped it over, and all of a sudden, it took about 30 seconds, and he yelled down to me, "Turn it off, and come up here right away." So I went up there right away, and what happened was, when I flipped that over, it arced through the outlet underneath a bed and caught. It was right after school was over, so this kid had his papers underneath the desk,
Yeah.
or underneath his bed. Well, caught those on fire.
Really?
And was rolling up behind the bed when I got upstairs, and was that fast.
Yeah.
And so the lady was there, and I said to her, "Do you have a fire extinguisher?" And she said, "Yeah, it's downstairs." So she went downstairs and got it, brought it back up, and I opened up the door. Now the room was full of smoke. I pulled the pin on the fire extinguisher. Nothing.
Okay.
And I said to her, is there any more? In the meantime, the electrician had called the fire department, 911. So she said, there's one other one downstairs. So she came back upstairs. Well, it was a bigger one. Well, when they got up there, the flames were already rolling across the top of the ceiling. I mean, this house was going to burn down.
Right.
So I went in there, and I got it knocked down, and then the fire department came. And I remember going outside, and her husband was outside because he was a pig farmer.
Yeah.
And he was outside with the pigs, and he said, and I told him, I said, "What was going on?" I said, "The fire department's on their way. We got it knocked down, but they're gonna be here." And he said to me, he says, "Don't let them knock a hole in the wall." I'm like, "Okay, no." I said, and then I found out the hard way that the fire extinguishers are designed to take the oxygen out of the air. That's how
because oxygen feeds the fire.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a mask on. Well, I'm breathing all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I got into my lungs. And so I ended up in the emergency room because I didn't think, but yeah, those were two of the probably ones that I remember the most. I mean, I got cold on an awful lot of jobs, but those are the two that I remember the most.
Wow.
Yeah, stopping someone's house from burning down would be a memorable moment when you're just showing up to fix a pump.
Did the house burn down?
No.
I mean, was it just contained basically? I mean,
It
smoke
was
and stuff
contained
like
in that.
that.
They had smoke
Right.
damage through the house, but it was contained just to that room. But they come up and knocked a whole bunch of holes in the wall.
What different, you talk about so far you've talked about electricians a lot, Is that who you run into the most as far as the different industries? Is it the electricians, or is there any other kind of, special group of people that you run into more often?
A lot of times, if somebody's out of water, the homeowner will call an electrician.
Really?
Yeah, because there's no power. Or let's say they have a storm and the power gets knocked out. Well, then things get turned on, and then they don't have any water, so they call electrician. Well, typical electricians, they're not very well versed on the pump stuff, and so I get out there, and then they said, "Well, the electrician said this and said that," and well, that's not what was wrong, and so. But I would say probably electrician is the one you run into the most.
And you're saying that when they call electrician because the submersible went out.
I mean their power is out and it goes back on, and so now they don't have water. So it's like, okay, we went out because I didn't have power, so I'm calling the electrician.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a homeowner, your average homeowner, they're not going
No.
to know that's going to be the next logical step.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes sense.
So
around here, sump pumps, they're big. I mean, you need a sump pump around here. How many times have you been out there and something as simple as like a sump pump not plugged in or sump pump not turned on, or does that happen a lot?
I wouldn't say it happens a lot, but I would say the thing that happens the most is when it does start to rain around here.
Yeah.
Then the sump pump is supposed to run and it doesn't run. Well, I'll turn over the pump and they'll have maybe a stick or a rock or something's in there, and by then their basement's already flooded.
Yeah.
I always made sure. I always ran mine if it didn't, like the house that I have now, mine doesn't run at all, never. But I still go out and I fill up the jar just to make sure it does run, just in case if I ever do have water. But there's a lot of people that they just wait till it rains, and then when it rains, if it doesn't work, it's too late because their basement's flooded.
Right.
How often do you do that?
How often do I do mine? I probably every 3-4 months, but I make sure that if it starts raining here in April, I'll be out there in March putting water
It's
in
one of
the
those
jug.
things that you don't know it's not going to work until it's too late, and then, like you said,
Step
you have
off
water
the last
in the
step
basement.
and
Squish.
Yep.
Ugh.
Huh. Interesting.
So you've been in pumps, I think, we've figured 30 some
close
years?
to 30 years, 30 plus.
So I'm sure when you were a little kid, that was like, I'm going to go into pumps. That's probably not unless you grew up with, family that did that. We've talked to, last person we talked to, he's a plumber, and that was what his dad did. So he knew from the time he was very small that that's what he wanted to do. But what did little Patsy want to be when he grew up?
I wanted to own a sporting goods store.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
Yep. I mean, I played sports my whole life, so I wanted to own a sporting goods store. And the reason I got into this, I always tell my father-in-law, is your way of getting back at me for marrying your daughter.
It was a test. Let's see how tough this guy is.
But no, I always wanted to own a sporting goods store. And, they had Cunard's downtown, and I always thought that was pretty cool down there. But, yeah, I always wanted to do that. So.
What sports did you play?
Baseball.
Cool.
Good.
Did you grow up in Dubuque?
Mm-hmm. I lived for almost 5 years out in Denver, but then I came back. Mm-hmm.
What did you do out there?
I worked at Johnstone Supply. It was a heating and air conditioning, ventilation company.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So when you sold the business, what made you come to A.Y. McDonald?
I knew Scott for a long time, and then
Who's Scott?
Scott Knapp.
Yep.
He's one of the family members.
Okay.
I knew him for a while. I installed A.Y. McDonald.
By the way,
pumps.
I knew that. I was just telling because just for future reference. Yeah.
I had.
You're so fired.
I installed A.Y. McDonald pumps for 10 of the 15 or 16 years that I was in business, so I knew Scott. Our building was bought by the state, and so they're going to put a different lane over there by Menards. So they bought our building, and I had, if I was going to get out of it, the pump business, that would be the time. I didn't know if I wanted to be on call for 24 hours, 7 days a week for the rest of my life. And so the day we signed on a Friday to sell the building to the state, and on Sunday, I always looked in the paper to see what the want ads were because I wanted to know who was hiring. And so I saw an ad from A.Y. McDonald, and it was for a pump application specialist. We don't even have that now, but that's what it was for. And I said to my wife, I said, what do you think? And she says, if you don't go over there and at least sit down and talk to him, you'll wonder why.
Right.
And so I did, and I talked to Scott, I think 3 times, and I just figured out that it was probably best for me that I do it, and it's a decision that I don't regret because I enjoy working here. It's fun.
Yeah. So how long ago was that?
16 years ago.
16 years.
The timing is a little crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, all in one weekend. Things just
I
happen
said to my wife, I said, you know, maybe this was meant to be, because we literally sold it on Friday and on that Sunday, and then I called Scott Monday. So
better question is, how in the hell have you stayed employed that long with AY? I mean, that's amazing.
But I guess I look at it and I see people like you.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. No, the people around here are awesome. It is like a family. They treat everybody like a family, and you know, we can all joke around, we can have fun, and so. But yeah, it's a great place to work.
Well, Steve, we appreciate you coming in and taking the time to give us your perspective as far as the industry is concerned. And we ask that you continue watching our podcast at aymcdonald.com. And if you have any suggestions or thoughts for future podcasts, feel free to email us at feel free to email. Okay. Potsy. Yeah. Hey, Potsy. Steve, we appreciate you taking the time to come in and talk to us about the industry from your perspective, being out in the field and everything. And ask that you continue to watch our podcast at aymcdonald.com. If you have any questions or thoughts or ideas as far as future podcasts, feel free to send us an email at ayafterhours@aymcdonald.com, and continue to follow our socials.
That was beautiful. You can scrap everything before that. The last one, I was like holding my breath, like, please. I only want you to fail so many times, and then I start to sweat. It's like the first three are funny. After that, I want to throw up.
She makes me nervous because I know she's like keeping an eye right at me.